Homes. We are out at our June virtual homeowner maintenance event. We're going to give you lots of tips and tricks today to keep your yard looking green and keeping us all nice and clean. I'm going to give it over to our customer care superintendent, Mark, who might be the smartest man we know. Take it away, Mark.
Oh, well, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Mark Enger with CVH Home Care here. As you see, I was sitting back with my little lawn chair. My last episode, I talked about how my mother used to sit in the lawn chair and you know, water the hot spots in the yard and this type of thing. So I was kind of practicing her history of doing items at hand. So anyways, here we are, live, I suspect, as they have told me. And we're supposed to be talking about lawn care and watering and what do we need to do. Well, as you can see on this particular yard, it's a great example. You know, we got, you know, these tan spots, some yellow spots, and this type of thing. And wow, what do we do? It's a unique issue. Well, let's look at the sod itself. I kind of pirated a little piece out of here, and I'm going to roll this out. Here's a perfect example of typical sod that we get. And in turn, we look at the sod itself. It looks like that nice bluegrass Kentucky green sod, and we have this nice little, what, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch of sod itself with the dirt. And when we get this particular sod, or whomever is laying it, well, this is the only part that has nutrients for the grass itself to grow. So we pan over the yard and we're seeing those tannish spots and brown spots. Well, the problem is we have a real lack of fertilizer on this particular yard. So when we're looking at fresh sod, just like this, it's nice, rich and green, because the bad, this particular soil aspect, has the nutrients in it. After the grass has basically used up those nutrients, we are going to get this particular aspect of a yard where we're going to need to re-fertilizer. Adding fertilizer, what do you use and how much? Well, I personally, you know, sneak out and I'll get myself a bag of that nice Scott's weed and feed. It works out really, really well. I've already actually fertilized my yard 4 times already this particular year. And you're going to say, oh, that's way too much. Well, yes, in some ways it can be, but it's a matter of what you want to pay for and for what you want to get. Can you burn up a lawn? Well, that is a true statement. That can be done. However, if you do the ample amount, which is prescribed, over a suggested period of time, you will not have that problem at all. So, dealing with yards themselves. Well, I have basically 3/4 of an inch of dirt on the back of that sod. So what kind of a yard do we deal with? Well, let's pan over and look at these particular yards back here. Well, they probably have a nice, great construction grade, meaning we have positive drainage away from the home, but is it truly a landscaping grade? So those are some characteristics or terms you need to be aware of when you're dealing with backyards and getting them done as soon as you possibly can. So we got a great positive drainage, slope away from the home, so that moisture that we do get from Mother Nature is going away from the home. Also dealing with your sprinkler systems, same issue. Too much water will cause problems, and that's why we have that issue of a sloping away from the home. Okay, so we got that taken care of. Are those yards ready and acceptable for sod? My answer is no. You need to get a landscaper to do a landscaping grade, not a construction grade. 2 major characteristics you have to really understand. What's the old thing my daughter would say to me all the time? Dad, you just got to Google it. They'll tell you everything. Well, when I was growing up, we didn't have Google. We did a lot of Googles, but we didn't have Google. Okay, so we had those issues at hand. So I'm not one of those technological supercomputer people, but I'm learning. I'm taking time. I work my way through it. Okay, so back to yards. I want to fertilize, obviously. Scott's Weed and Feed, as I said, works out really, really well. You can go to the blue store. You can go to the orange store. You pick a store that you want. That's fine. You can go to these particular companies. They happen to have, they have this concept known as a Grandma Z, and they got this program they'll put you on for 4 times a year. Hey, whatever works for your situation, go with it. I'm not here to tell you you have to do this. This is your yard. It is your home. You do what you need to do. Plain and simple. Nothing more, nothing less. This is some guidelines or suggestions. Okay? So pick out the one you like, what will work for you, what fits your needs. Fantastic. I personally always go with the issue of, hey, if this works for you by going into that particular orange store or blue store, go with it. Okay? Now, sprinklers themselves. Well, we happen to have these nice little guidelines, and they're only guidelines. Okay? It's only a suggestion. Maybe watering this much time, it says 5 minutes per sprinkler per day, is maybe too much for your yard. Your yard is much smaller versus this particular yard. It's a nice sized yard. Your kids could have a good time out here playing. I'm sure of it. Okay? This may be absolutely perfect for your yard. Let's say you have a very small yard. Well, 5 minutes would be way too much. So you're going to have to regulate that. Look at the yard. If you're getting the cooling, you're getting the water running off the sidewalk, it's way too much. So please remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind when your sprinklers are on and doing their job. Okay? So be aware of those issues. Now, if we're watering too much and we got this beautiful grading going on and you found out, wow, this is fantastic, I love my yard, it looks great. When we come over to this situation, dealing with our vents for our crawl space, dealing with our foundations, we want to make sure we have clearance of the soil below the vent box. We do not want any sort of surface water finding its way back to the foundation to go into that crawl space. We just don't want that issue at all. Make sure all your vent boxes are now open 100%. We want that beautiful breeze we're having this afternoon, which is fantastic, feels great. We've all been waiting for this weather. If I see rain one more time, I think I'm just going to stay home. Okay, I agree. It's been pretty overwhelming. This rain for the last few days, I guess I would say the last couple of weeks, is just, well, excuse the pun, it's been drowning. We're drowning in it, no question about it. Everybody is sick of it. So be aware. Beautiful day today. We want that nice fresh air. We want that going in underneath the crawl space. We want a cross ventilation issue where this air is simply going through and exchanging out to get whatever moisture issues down there completely evaporated out. That's why for the vent boxes. Now, what do we do in this case? This is too high. The dirt, the stone is too high. Well, what I would do is this. Well, my landscaper did a beautiful job in my yard, but he brought it up too high. Well, you can go to that blue store or orange store again and pick yourself up a vent well. This one happens to be 20 inches wide, 4 inches basically from front to back of the foundation wall, and 12 inches high, meaning from between my hands, from top to bottom. So that means I need to dig out this portion of the foundation next to that vent well, or vent itself, so I can get my vent well to fit down and in to make sure I have ample clearance of dirt and moisture away from the bottom of this vent box. Okay? We want to make sure that's totally clear. So I'm going to dig all that up. I'm going to slide this back in. I want the top edge of the vent well to basically hit right underneath the siding. That's all done. We got the excess dirt out. Now, what do I do in the bottom? I want to put in 1 inch of stone. This particular stone is fantastic. I want to line the bottom of that with 1 inch. Basically, that's going to pull the moisture away from this particular issue of a vent itself. Once you have that accomplished, everybody's happy, okay? We still have constant air going into the crawl space. We can get in there to maneuver that particular vent door itself in the wintertime, and we're keeping that moisture out of the crawl space, which is a huge success. No question, we've got to keep that basically as high and dry as possible, okay? Again, make sure of the watering times. We know those particular times. If you need stickers, obviously we have them. The construction managers have them. Most of the construction issue of the workers, you will find them. They're everywhere. Just ask someone, we can get them to you, okay? Dealing with watering times themselves. So, fertilizers. I talked about that a lot. Whatever company you want to deal with, whatever particular style, makes you happy, that's fantastic. One thing you want to consider, a lot of homes have those nice, trees in your front yard. And I talked about the clay zero nutrients. It's not there, okay? So you're looking out there and you're looking at your tree. I water it all the time. Why is it not looking so perky? Well, I hate to tell you this, it's the clay. There's no nutrients for that tree to absorb to make it grow. So back to, let's say, even I've seen them in, Walmart, in your
landscaping section?
Yeah, the landscaping area, the gardening shop. They have what is known as fertilizer stakes. So what you want to do is take the old cloth tape and you measure around it and this type of thing, and you find out, oh wow, it's 3 inches in diameter. Well, that will basically tell you want to go out 3 feet and drive in what is known as a fertilizer stake that is designed for that type of a tree. Such as, would I have a different style fertilizer stake for a deciduous tree, meaning a leaf-bearing tree? Maples, elms, ash, those are leaf-bearing trees. Those are all referred to as hardwoods, okay? So, that will meet that particular need. Drive that in, we're all good to go. Is there a different style for a conifer tree, meaning pine trees? Absolutely. We want to make sure those nutrients match those particular issues of what that tree needs. Okay? Just like the issue of fertilizer for a lawn. We want to make sure we're matching those needs for what they want to eat. It's just like you sitting down at dinner. Honey, 1 porterhouse, medium rare. Don't forget the grilled shrimp, a little touch of garlic. I'm going to eat that up, no problem. Well, your yard is kind of acting the same way. So be aware of those issues. Make sure we're matching the right nutrients for the right issue for those particular plants. Question will come in. Well, I got these shrubs and this type of thing. Yes, they do have them for shrubs as well. Read the guidelines that you need to follow and put those in. They will dissolve in time to feed those shrubs and trees. So.
Awesome. Quick question.
Yes.
We had a question earlier. Can we install a hose hanger on the siding of
Sure.
the house?
The first thing I would check for is this. Check with your HOA. Okay? Me personally, hey, this is my home. This is my domain. And my old saying would be, well, it's going to be kind of hard for someone to justify why I can't do something for my own house. So, what do you want to do on issue answering, hanging a particular issue of a hose hanger on your home? Well, let's go over to this one. Let's see. I have the hose bib. I have the hose. And wow, I got this trim board right here. Well, if I have the appropriate size screws, let's say, well, I know this is 3/4 of an inch thick, then I have 1/2 inch OSB behind there. Well, 3/4 and a half, that means it's 1.25 inches. Well, I can go up to 1.25 inches before I even get to the idea of protruding inside the wall cavity. So with that being in mind, wow, I get 1.25 inch screws. I can now fasten that right to the side of the building, right here, on this nice piece of trim work. fasten it in, now I'm not concerned, and you should be concerned, if I'm going to hit any hidden obstacles inside this wall cavity, electrical wires, a plumbing line, anything else that could be in that particular wall that I'm not thinking of at this present time, I'm not going to get into that issue because I got 1/2 inch plus a 3/4 of an inch, that's 1.25 inches. I am not going to protrude into that wall cavity. Good question, though.
Awesome. Do we have any more questions? Oh, it looks like that's it. All right. Thank you, Mark. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. We will be back next month with more tips and tricks. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.